Ayon? Ayon is a chimera-like hollow created from the left arms of Emilu, Francesca, and Sayan. Ayon is a massive entity with a white deer skull in the center of its head. It has centaur-like legs with a snake-like tail. Its three creators believe that Ayon does not respond to orders because it has no ears beneath its mane. Ranjiku, upon looking into its eyes, felt as though she was staring into a bottomless void. Yamamoto stated that Ayon is a monster that thinks of nothing but killing. Despite never responding to its creator's words, Ayon is capable of worrying about them. Bawabawa. Bawabawa is one of the snake-like warrior spirits kept in Dandochaka's stomach. It serves as both a pet and a means of transportation for Pesce, Dandochaka, and Nell. Bawabawa tends to feel sad about not being included in the group's grand introduction sequence, and expresses its displeasure by shaking violently or crying. Despite its fearsome appearance, it is quite emotional, though it can fight when necessary. Bulbous G. Bulbous G is one of the hollows drawn into the human world by Ishida's hollow bait. It stands nearly 2 meters tall, easily overshadowing Sato. It exhibits an instinctual and primal nature, ignoring ordinary humans and attacking those with the highest concentration of Reiryoku in the area. Physically, it is incredibly strong, capable of creating craters in concrete with ease, splitting metal signs in half with its fists, and toppling parts of the ground with a single blow. Its durability matches its strength. However, despite its immense power, it was ultimately destroyed by Sato. Demi Hollow. Demi Hollow is a hollow created from a jibakure chained to an abandoned hospital. After its chain of fate was broken and its chest hole was forcibly opened by Don Kanonji, the jibakure transformed into a hollow with a face resembling that of a frog. In life, the jibakure had planned to become rich by inheriting his father's hospital and was obsessed with luxuries such as expensive cars and alcohol. However, when his father left the hospital to his younger sibling, the jibakure swore never to forgive him, which caused his soul to be bound to the hospital after death. As a hollow, he had an extremely primitive and limited intellect. The Demi Hollow could spit an adhesive strong enough to fuse 2 surfaces together. However, in the end, Ichigo shattered its mask, revealing the jibakure underneath. Fishbone D. Fishbone D is the hollow that attacked Kurosaki Clinic on the night Ichigo and Rukia first met. It is a humanoid hollow with a fish-like mask and a fin on its back. Fishbone D possesses significant spiritual power, enough to surprise even Rukia when she sensed its Reiatsu. It was powerful enough to severely injure Rukia with a single strike. It could extend its limbs by several meters and effortlessly send both Rukia and Ichigo flying with a single punch. However, it was ultimately purified by Ichigo. Grand Fissure. Grand Fissure is a hollow that evaded the Shinigami for 54 years and was responsible for the death of Ichigo's mother, Masaki. It has a hybrid appearance, resembling both a hamster and an anglerfish. When Ichigo was 9 years old, Grand Fissure was hiding near a river in Karakura town. He concealed his true form and used the illusion of a young girl's body as bait. Ichigo, believing the girl was about to jump, ran to stop her, but in doing so, Masaki, who had lost her Quincy powers, was left defenseless and was killed by Grand Fissure. Years later, after Ichigo became a Shinigami, he fought and defeated Grand Fissure, who later transformed into an imperfect Arrancar. However, he was eventually slain by Isshin. Grand Fissure possessed greater spiritual power than an average hollow and could easily overpower Ichigo, blocking his attacks with his bare hands. He could extend his limbs and fur to attack or restrain opponents. He also had the ability to conceal himself within another body and use bait to lure potential victims. Additionally, he had a high-speed regeneration ability. Hooleer. Hooleer is a massive hollow serving under Aizen. It closely resembles a gigantic worm. Wonderweiss Margella arrives in the human world alongside Hooleer during the battle between Gote 13 and the Espada. Hooleer is enormous in size and uses its breath to free Aizen, Gin, and Tosin from the fire prison. After Wonderweiss's scream, Hooleer releases Gillians from its mouth to attack the Vicereds. However, after the last Gillian is defeated, Hooleer is easily killed by Mashiro Kuna's super kick. Hexapodus. Hexapodus resembles a 6-legged insect with a smooth white mask and a humanoid face. It first appears at Yumasawa Children's Park, where it finds and attacks the plus of a young boy. After a brief chase, Hexapodus catches the boy and is about to consume him when Ichigo intervenes and purifies it. Menos Grande. Menos Grande is a Menos that ambushed Uryu Ishida in the human world. Among its kind, it is unique due to its true form consisting of 2 separate hollows that can move independently. Despite its massive size, it was nearly as fast as Uryu. Its combat strategy involved splitting its upper and lower bodies to fight. Additionally, it could use its tongue for long-range attacks. Its highly advanced regenerative ability allowed it to fight comfortably. However, it was ultimately destroyed by Rukin. Metastacia. Metastacia is an experimental hollow used by Ayon during an unknown period. It is a cruel hollow that enjoys devouring Shinigami. When Kai and Shiba asked if it ever regretted consuming anyone, it replied that it had a heart and regretted not eating Miyako Shiba's heart and body. Metastacia is extremely sadistic, delighting in mocking and tormenting Kaien and Rukia. It can insert its tentacles into a person's body, altering their appearance and taking control. Upon merging with a host, the host's body disintegrates, leaving only a hollow mask with orange stains. Additionally, touching its tentacles instantly destroys Zanpakutō, though this effect is limited to a single use per sword. Numb Chandelier. Numb Chandelier was one of the hollows drawn to Karakura Town by Uryu Ishida's hollow bait. It attacked several Karakura high school students. Numb Chandelier is arrogant, sociopathic, and cowardly. It avoids direct combat and instead manipulates its victims from a distance, forcing them to kill each other for its amusement. It has spiked projections on its mask that can fire seeds as projectiles. These seeds take control of a human's body, allowing Numb Chandelier to control their movements. Runuganga. Runuganga is a massive hollow serving as the guardian of the White Sands, tasked with protecting Las Noches from intruders. Its body is gray and composed of sand. The attacks from Sado, Ichigo, and Uryu prove ineffective against Runuganga, as it continuously reforms after each assault. It possesses an innate ability to manipulate sand, creating pits to trap anyone attempting to infiltrate Las Noches. It can use its jaws to swallow opponents. However, due to being composed of sand, its greatest weakness is water. Ultimately, it is defeated by Rukia. Shrieker. Before becoming a hollow, Shrieker was a notorious serial killer. His hollow form is 3 times the size of an average human and resembles a monkey, often moving on all fours. In life, he took pride in his notoriety, referring to himself as a celebrity, having claimed 8 victims. His final victim was Yuichi Shibata's mother, whom he stabbed dozens of times. After killing her, he attempted to kill Yuichi as well, but failed when Yuichi accidentally killed him first. As a hollow, Shrieker remained narcissistic and sadistic, still enjoying the thrill of murder. He tormented Yuichi for 3 months, telling him that if he could escape for that duration, his mother would return, deriving twisted pleasure from the deception. However, Ichigo ultimately sent Shrieker to hell. White. White is an experimental hollow used by Ayon before his defection from Soul Society. It was created from the souls of multiple Shinigami. Despite its name, White is almost entirely black. It exhibits a cold and calculating personality, acting based on instinct like most hollows. Its combat strategy always involves targeting the weakest victim. While fighting Ishin, White was described as feeling more like a Shinigami than a hollow. After its creation, it went on a killing spree in Naruki City, which prompted the 10th Division Captain Isshin Shiba to investigate. Isshin attempted to draw it out using a high concentration of Reiatsu. While fighting Isshin, Masaki Kurosaki intervened and was bitten by White. This was actually a deliberate choice by White to transfer something to Masaki. To counter this, Isshin used a special Gigai invented by Urahara to bind his soul to both Masaki and White. Over time, White's influence transferred to Ichigo Kurosaki, becoming the source of his Zangetsu. White was incredibly fast, capable of sneaking behind a Shinigami and decapitating them instantly. It possessed immense durability and strength, along with extraordinary Reiatsu, even intimidating Isshin. Its Sero was powerful enough to erase an average Shinigami without a trace. White had a self-destruction mechanism, creating an explosion when critically wounded to damage its surroundings. Additionally, it could use holification venom to transfer a powerful toxin, strong enough to kill even Gote 13 soldiers. Zozain. Zozain is a large hollow resembling a hybrid of a worm and a sunflower. It first appears while chasing a female plus, but is swiftly killed by Characterizer's Riser Beam. Acidwire. Acidwire was Orihime Inoue's older brother before his death. Initially, he found peace due to Orihime's prayers, but over time, as her prayers diminished, he became jealous of how she constantly talked about Tatsuki and Ichigo instead. This jealousy triggered his hollowification, transforming him into a hollow. Acidwire attempted to take Orihime with him, but Ichigo purified him with his Zanpakutō. Before departing, Acidwire bid farewell to Orihime in his human form.